Who Dey to all those who celebrate. Welcome to another episode of Gridiron Jungle with your two favorite Bengals fans. Happy Victory Tuesday. It might be Victory Wednesday or so by the time you listen to this, but either way, the Bengals had a win this week. Phil got some Penn Station. All is right in the world. This is Kieron, joined by my good brother Phil. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Yes, sir. What's going on? Feeling much better this week than last week or the last however many weeks. So,
Yeah,
happy to be
last
back
4
in the win
weeks.
column.
Absolutely. It's been a while, been way too long, but we are back in the win column. Can't be happier about it. Shout out to the fellas for getting the job done in Monday Night Football. Of course, they had to do it in dramatic fashion. But as everyone's been saying, we were bound to have a game go our way, considering all things that have happened this season. Obviously, we are talking about the Week 14 win on Monday Night Football in Dallas, Texas. The Bengals now move to 5-8 on the season. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. 5-8. Us and
5-8 on the season.
us and Dallas both moved to 5-8. So
Yeah. On our way to a 9-8 season. That's what we're trekking towards right now. That's what
all
we're trekking
right,
towards.
all
So,
right.
you know what I mean? We should be able to get some more under our belt, but let's take it easy. Let's relax a little bit. Let's talk about Week 14. We appreciate everyone out there. Thank you for tuning in. As always, thank you for listening. We honestly cannot do any of this without you. Wouldn't want to do any of this without you. It's always fun to have people to talk about the Bengals with. I want to shout out D Hall Donovan.
Yes, sir. What up, D?
And not even trying to be funny. He's a Cowboys fan, but this isn't to be funny. Genuinely always reaches out to me after each episode to kind of give compliments. He appreciates our fandom and the fact that we keep it real. He's a Cowboys fan, but I've known Donovan since elementary, man. I know he's genuine when he says that. So we definitely appreciate you tuning in. And I shouted him out on another week in the books not too long ago, just because D Hall is just one of those people that's always going to listen and support. So we definitely appreciate it. We wanted to have him on. We had some ideas for a live stream, but it just didn't happen. There were too many moving pieces. A couple Cowboy fans, they realized what time it was and they backed out. Yeah, we're talking to you too, Spike Lou.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
it's really been a wrap. But before we get to your thoughts and things like that, I do want to read some comments that we've gotten on the YouTube page. YouTube been going crazy recently. So I want to read some comments that we've gotten. We got some new subscribers. John Cranert, if I'm saying that correctly, Cranert, 5 days ago he subscribed. We definitely appreciate you. But the first comment is going to come from DSES 2001. DSES says, I know you don't want to hear from a Steelers fan, but I don't think the coaching staff is the problem. I think it's front office, GM. The offense is elite. I don't know defensive coordinator's name, but he has been a top 3 D coordinator in the game in the last few years. You don't get dumb that fast. I think they deserve a shot to fix whatever the problems are. They've earned that right. There was a response from someone called Imirim. It's Imirim. They responded to that comment and said, much respect, Steelers fans, and Tomlin was impressive on Hard Knocks. Man, was he? We'll talk about Tomlin. That fan also wrote, that listener also wrote his own separate comment, Imirim. Mike Tomlin really impressed me on Hard Knocks. Amber Reed, 4443, commented and said, this is a great conversation. You guys deserve a bigger audience. Amber, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate absolutely.
That. Coast. So Coast, but it has 5 instead of an S. Coast commented and said, small correction at 650. Steelers have only had 3 head coaches in the last 55 years, not the entire existence. Thank you for that. Actually, I'm happy you corrected me because I would be upset at myself if I was that well knowledge of Steelers history. That is not something I want to know. He also said 16 coaches total, been in existence since 1933, 1940, transition from Pirates to Steelers. Also, black and yellow hearts. We are winning the Super Bowl. I'm going to let you get that off, Coast. You know what I mean? I'm going to let you get that off. Y'all winning. Y'all balling right now. And feeling myself, I've always said, and they're talking to 2 people who have been to Pittsburgh to watch the Bengals play and watch games. I love going to that stadium. I love the history there.
Absolutely.
I've been to Cowboys Stadium before, and I still don't feel the same type of history. It's different. And I got to tip my hat and respect them I mean, I've always said I love Tomlin. I just hate that he coaches for the Steelers. But I'm a huge.
I'm right
Tomlin
there
fan.
with you.
Amber Reed, another comment, maybe a day later after the original one. Dan Orlovsky has a segment in VR where he discusses the Calvin Austin touchdown and what decisions he made based on the safety. I do love Orlovsky's videos as far as the film breakdown. I actually wish more people. Shout out to D Good, man, my brother D Good. That's something I've been talking to him about or mentioned. I would love to see more film breakdown, like so people can understand what it is that they're watching, terminology, the whole nine stuff for nerds. Tony Pike, if you're a Cincinnati person, you know Tony Pike, born and raised, Reading High School, University of Cincinnati quarterback. He does similar film breakdowns that are really good as well. I want to give him a shout out.
Yeah, love watching Tony Pike.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Amber. I don't even know. I want to preface this by saying I didn't read these before we just started going. So I have no idea what they're going to say. But we have Trapadon MC 7077. I just want to explain to everyone that doesn't know the nobody in the who they chant doesn't mean nobody can beat us. It means we're afraid of nobody. Who they think will beat them Bengals. Where they play in the jungles. Afraid of nobody. Absolutely right. No fear over here on this side. And then lastly, we have King MJ's Day. I think I'm saying that right. King MJ's Day. Steelers are the Steelers, are also 1-4 in their past 5 Thursday night games. Overall, Tomlin has a losing record of 9-10 in his 19 career Thursday games. There's got a response from the GQ Smooth 09. Most games are played on Sunday, and Tomlin is excellent on those games, so I'll take the Thursday night record. Fair
Gotta
point.
respect it.
Not mad at that. Let's talk something real quick before you get into your comments. I want to go back to D-Sess, the first comment we wrote or read. D-Sess says, hey, take it easy on the coaching staff. I think it's more of the front office. We've also had our gripes with the front office. Trust me. We know exactly what kind of front office we're dealing with. I think we mentioned it a couple times on the episode. Let's look forward in the future. All right. We have a win. Let's say we stack these next 4 weeks and we do finish 9-8. Does that change your stance on anything? Do you think, as D said, this coaching staff deserves a chance? Do they deserve another year to kind of get this thing right?
Absolutely not.
Finish strong.
Absolutely not. And and obviously this is new to our viewers, maybe to some of our viewers or listeners. I wanted to fire Zach on the Super Bowl run. I again, you know, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. You know, Zach has never impressed me at all. You know, I'm sure we'll get into it. Just finished watching another episode of Hard Knocks. I fell in love with Stefanski, you know, and continued to, you know, be enamored with Mike Tomlin and his approach, you know, but Zach, no, doesn't do anything for me, you know. I think we talked about it briefly last week, you know. Even I think, I mean, let me ask you this question. Let me just turn it back to you real quick. Even if we do give this staff another chance, do you think that includes Frank Pollock and Lou Anarumo as well? Or are you saying the staff in its entirety, or are you just referring to Zach?
I think he means the staff in its entirety, because he specifically mentioned Lou having a top 3 defense, which isn't necessarily all the way true, but I get the sentiment. Defense have been much better. Lou's thing for a long time, and it's kind of masked some of these problems. He's always been okay with yardage. We want to be low in that points per game category. We want to be low in that, or I guess high in that red zone percentage success. You know, if you want to move the ball in between the 20s, have at it all day. You can go back and forth between 20 to 20 all you want to. But once you get into that red zone, you know, it's slow for you. When it doesn't happen, then the rest of his defense seems worse than what it is, but it's really not too far off. And we just don't have a pass rush. I mean, I don't think it's – listen, what Trey Hendrickson is doing with no help on that D-line is remarkable. It's one of the best individual performances I've seen throughout the season ever, and I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. I think he is absolutely dominating because you know exactly who you need to key in on. Talking about Hard Knocks, Phil, we get an inside look into these meetings. This past episode, we see Steelers are planning for Myles Garrett, Browns planning for T.J. Watt, you have to put these game plans together for Trey Hendrickson, and you also know there's not really too much else that you have to worry about. All due respect to the front line, but that's just kind of what it is. Nobody really scares you. As Michael Lombardi always says, you're not worrying on your way to the game. You're not losing sleep overall. Is Chris Jenkins going to destroy us this week?
Right.
Once again, all due respect, I like Chris Jenkins. I think he's going to be a really good player, but he's just not at that point in his career. Kind of goes to what, once again, if you watch Hard Knocks, kind of goes to a point that Mike Tomlin said when he was talking to Joey Porter. I know you want to be great, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen today.
Man, that was such a great scene.
Yeah. It's not going to happen today, right? And that's kind of what I mean. A lot of these other players, as much potential as they have, it's not happening right now. It's not happening this season. All right, but Trey, absolute dog. I say all that to say, if they do keep Zach, they're keeping the staff. They're going to keep the staff. I think you said the best point, Phil. You can't think of a reputable defensive coordinator that's going to want to come and coach with Zach. Maybe there's a young up-and-comer. Maybe there's someone out in college. Maybe there's – I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
the idea that – I'll tell you this. And like you said, people might not know because we didn't have this podcast during the Super Bowl run. But literally during that season, Phil was calling for Zach. And he also mentioned the Super Bowl run was the best/worst thing that could have happened because it did buy Zach some time. And
that's what got him the extension, you know?
Yeah, I got him the extension. But even if I just don't, just being realistic, we try to keep it as realistic as possible on this podcast. I just don't see Mike Brown firing him with a year's old deal. Like that's just not how they work.
I don't either. And while we're on this topic, I don't want this to get lost anywhere in the episode. Shout out to Ryan Clark for finally somebody from the national media actually talking about it. Hey, the Bengals need to go talk to Bill Belichick. Like I loved hearing that from a Super Bowl champion, from a player that's played in this division, from a player who's been on the Steelers sideline, you know, on the opposing end of the Bengals, you know, that someone that can look at us objectively and say, this is a really good team heading in the right direction with some really good players that just needs the guy to get them, you know, to kind of steer the ship. So, you know, again, nothing personal against Zach Taylor. He's just not the guy to get this team to the promised land. And I want to go to the promised land.
Yeah. I wouldn't even mind the only and I wouldn't even be thrilled about it. But if you have a solid, foolproof plan to teach Zach Taylor how to be a head coach, then maybe you could talk me into another season. And what I mean by that, and I know this doesn't happen a lot, it does happen behind the scenes, but literally, I want Zach Taylor to spend an offseason with, if we don't hire Bill, which I doubt, he'll have a job, so I doubt it'll happen, but go talk to a Bill Parcells and literally go figure out how to game plan and how to conduct meetings. Like, once again, Hard Knocks. Mike Tomlin's in his meeting with his quarterbacks, with with players, and giving them the game plan on what needs to happen. Like, this is what we need to run into. There's a moment of accountability. I'm not doing my job if I don't tell y'all how it is. I'm not doing my job if I don't give you the answers to the test. I'm not trying to come down on you.
He was spitting.
Yeah, I'm not trying to come down on you. I'm not dogging you, but this is the truth. Film is film. That was a big conversation throughout this episode. Film is film. It's out there. All right. If you ever played a sport to the level where you have film, I'm talking about film in practices, film in games, you can't hide from it. You can't run from it. Your film is who you are. You know what I mean? You can't come in the room and say, no, I'm really this person. No, because your film tells me something else. Right? So if you see it, you got to correct it. Once again, another classic Lombardi line. You either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen.
There you go. I
think Zach allows a lot of things to happen. I think he wants to be liked. I think he wants to be a player's coach. But I don't think he knows how to be a head coach. And you see those vast differences. They're very subtle. But, man, being directly coming up with a game plan, letting you know what needs to be done. These are the tendencies. Look, they had 6 turnovers. Right now in their meetings, they are doing everything they can possible to protect the ball this week. We know that going into it. That's just smart football. That's just understanding what we need to – Tomlin even said it at the beginning of the episode. We need to focus on what we need to do to win this week.
There you go. I don't care about the style points. We need to go out there and play winning football. We got to do whatever it takes to win the game. And you brought up a good point talking about bringing in a Parcells, bringing someone in to kind of, you know, I guess mentor Zach, you can say, but does he have those resources? Do the Bengals have those resources? Mike Tomlin comes from the Tony Dungy tree. He was handpicked by Brad Childress to be the defensive coordinator that season in Minnesota, I think in 2006, before he got the Steelers job. He was only a one-year coordinator, kind of, where Zach was an interim coordinator and really a quarterback's coach. But, he came from the McVay tree. Can you lean on a guy like McVay that's a couple years older than you and still knee deep in it to help develop you, to help teach you how to run your organization? No, and McVay, as great as he is, he hasn't proven to be that guy that can develop a coach. Yes, Kevin O'Connell has been amazing in Minnesota, but I think that has a lot more to do with him, so I don't know if there's a person that would be invested enough in Zach to even, be that person. He was on Philbin's staff, and I know he's got ties to Mike Sherman, but I don't know if there's a person that we have access to that I feel good about mentoring him, if that makes sense. So
that's a fair point. That was one of the questionable things about the hire. And obviously the Sean McVay, if you remember when Sean McVay came on the scene, I mean, you don't get Sean McVay just don't walk around on average. That's like a lightning in a bottle. Like, you just got to accept it for that. And I think we tried to turn Zach into that because he was around it or associated with it. And it's just not the same thing. And I just don't interfere. And listen, Phil said it earlier. It's not personal against Zach. I'm sure he's a great guy. Mm-hmm. I loved our Super Bowl run. I love him going to the bars and giving out game balls, getting the community connected. I love that stuff.
Sure.
I just don't. I personally, this is just from observation. I've never been in a room with him. Just personally don't think he doesn't get me fired up. I don't think he's necessarily a leader of men in the way that we need it.
Yeah.
I think he would be I'll tell you what, I think he'd be a great college coach.
Yeah, I think it would be too.
A great college coach. Recruiting might be a little bit iffy because once again, I just don't. I don't think Zach. I don't think Zach can convince me to drink water on a.
But it's the NIL era, It's at the end of the day, college is turning into the pros. So and that's why I don't look at the Bill entertaining North Carolina that crazy. I mean, he's gonna run it like a pro organization, and that's what these kids want to be treated like. So
that's a good point. But to bring it back to finish my point about Zach, in all fairness to him, I don't think he's had enough reps to be a good head coach. I don't think he was prepared to be a head coach. Like, it was shocking given his resume at the time of his hire. You got to think this is year 5 for him.
Yeah,
this is his only real time running the program. And now, even then, you had 5 years under your belt. At some point down the line, you got to figure it out.
And all reps are not good reps. You know what I mean? Just because you out there practicing, don't mean you practicing the right way. So
facts. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about the game, and then we'll talk about Hard Knocks. Thank you once again, everybody out there who wrote us and added in on the conversation. That was a lot of fun. We'll continue to do that and read those every single episode. But we're down in Dallas, Monday Night Football. The Bengals once again win 27-20 in dramatic fashion, as only the Bengals can. Joe Burrow, 33 for 44, 369 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Chase Brown, 14 carries with 58 yards, as well as 6 receptions for 65 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, man.
Hey, man, I've been saying it all year, man. He the GOAT. He the best. He the best to ever do it. I don't care. I apologize to anybody else who would be in the conversation already. I'm not going to do it anymore because I don't need to.
I'm not. I've already addressed that comment before. However, 14 receptions, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And he had a carry
what more
for
can
14
you say?
yards, if you want to throw that in there.
Which is something I love to see us doing a little bit more of. And it doesn't always have to be the Jamar, but building up that speed. What game was I watching? I think it was the Sunday night game a couple weeks ago, the snow game between Buffalo and San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget who commentated that game. It might have been Chris Collinsworth. but we're talking about jet sweeps, and just because of the weather they were playing in, how it might be more strategic to get somebody with a head start, give them the ball and just kind of let them go, because change of direction is going to be tricky. I just think that's a good play anyway right now, because you have some players that are so fast hitting that edge.
Yeah.
And if you block it properly, you can get 7-8 yards a pop.
Yeah, I know Jamar doesn't like necessarily carrying the ball too much, but would love to see Isaiah Williams or Burton used in that role. You know,
Burton would be perfect.
Yeah, just build some confidence. You know, get the ball in his hands. He's done well in the return game when he's got opportunities, and those jet sweeps kind of, you know, set up that same way. You see Mecole Hardman kind of have some success in those type plays with the Chiefs and the Jets and that sort of thing. So, I mean, we saw who is it? Turpin on the other end on the other side for Dallas, you know, getting those type of touches. So definitely, like you said, would love to see that. I mean, 1 carry for 14 yards, just having that in your repertoire, having that threat, you know, is definitely valuable.
Shout out to Bengals Central, Bengals.Central on Instagram. They posted something, and I wanted to just highlight these. There's 3 posts that I wanted.
I already know what you're about to say.
Yeah. First and foremost, to Phil's point, whether you agree with him or not, I don't, but I think about when it's all said and done, it could be very true. Jamar Chase is the youngest NFL player, youngest player in NFL history to reach 5,000 receiving yards and 40 receiving touchdowns. Here's another one. This is pretty crazy. These are Jamar Chase's stats this year. If you just isolated his 4 biggest games, his 4 biggest games: 41 catches, 752 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Insane. I don't have a list of who that's better than right now. That's only his 4 biggest games. And this was the one that I really enjoyed. With 14 catches, 177 yards, and 2 scores.
Talk to me.
Jamar Chase is the first receiver with a 10+ reception, 175+ yardage, and 2+ touchdown game since Jamar Chase did it in Week 10 against the Ravens. Who was the first receiver to do it since Jamar Chase did it in Week 5 against the Ravens?
Yes, sir.
Jamar, yes, sir. Man. Yes, sir. I didn't even know he went to that level, man. That Brinks truck, man. I don't even know.
And I got one more for you, just to sprinkle on top of that. The first player in NFL history to record 80 catches, 1,000 yards, and 7 touchdowns in each of their first 4 seasons. The first.
Bad man. You're a bad man. Hey, man, Jamar. At this point, Jamar about to get a Soto deal.
Man, listen.
He about to get a Juan Soto deal, man. He might sign somewhere for 765, whatever it was.
You remember how I don't know. I think it's true the way Dennis Schroeder left that money on the table. It's like the opposite. The Bengals not getting the deal, not putting the right offer on the table. You know what I mean? That is gonna cost you.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all my people who love the movie Rounders. Pay him. Pay that amount his money.
Numbers.
Teddy KGB, man. Phil, I just read some stats for you. Geno Stone, your favorite safety in the league, had an interception.
Man.
So he had a pick this game.
Yeah.
What were your overall thoughts? I was gonna say he was good. We got to shoot it fair when it's right. What were your overall thoughts on the game? Did you watch the Simpsons broadcast?
So I started out watching the Simpsons broadcast. I let my oldest 2, Marley and Journey, stay up a little bit just to check it out. Journey's been dying to watch it. She wants to watch the replay, so I'm gonna try to get that replay on for her sometime this week because she's dying to watch the full game. My girls do like watching football with me, so I'm grateful for that. But my wife, shout out to my wife, Shaq. What's up, baby? She got tired of the Simpsons broadcast. She was like, "Can you put the real game on? Like, I don't want to look at this anymore." So, that went off pretty quickly, but it was cool to see. I thought they did a really good job. It was much better than the Toy Story broadcast last season, in my opinion. So definitely, cool to see them improve on that. I thought it had less issues as the Toy Story broadcast did last year. So it was really cool to see. I don't know if you got a chance to check it out, but it was really cool to see.
Checked out a little bit, saw some of the highlights, but that's about it.
But as far as overall thoughts, we've already touched on Jamar Chase. I won't continue to harp on 7-Eleven, on Uno, but shout out to the offensive line, especially Amarius Mims. wonderful game. But just a big shout out to the offensive line in general for shutting out Michael Parsons. No sacks, no tackles. I mean, just a wonderful job. Mims has done a really good job this year against Parsons, against Crosby, against Watt, against Garrett. He hasn't allowed any sacks against those 4 guys. And I don't know if there's any 4 rushers better than those guys other than Trey Hendrickson, who plays for us. So really great job by the offensive line there. Did a great job keeping Joe clean. And, definitely love to see that. And I think Burrow was only hit twice in his 40 pass attempts, if I'm not mistaken. So still has some missed calls, some, refs can't see too well, missing a big face mask call and that sort of thing. But definitely want to give a shout out to the offensive line, a shout out to Jamar Chase and the defense, coming up with timely stops, getting a couple takeaways. And, I can't not go over the overall takeaways without shouting out Dallas for out Bengals the Bengals. So, I appreciate them helping us close that game out there at the end. Couldn't have done it without them. So salute. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Great. That's a great point. 2 sacks against Burrow. He might have got touched a couple more times, but I think that was the only thing significant. It's funny how we live in a microwave society where everything's clips and it's all condensed. People just try to get all their news in the shortest form as possible. Because if you watch a couple of things, obviously there was a holding call against Michael Parsons or on Michael Parsons where Mims had on early in the game. But I seen that clip and it's just like that's all that they had. Nobody else is other than some Bengals page who were talking about how good of a game he played. And there's people who I've talked to today who were just like, "Oh yeah, the offensive line needs some help." I'm like, "Did you watch? You didn't. Obviously, you didn't watch the game."
Right.
Which I know has been, well, I will say this to Phil's point. There was a moment late in that game where I thought of Phil when Cody Ford, I forget what Cody Ford did, but the whole point was Cody Ford should have been on the field. But yeah, your point about Dallas out Bengals the Bengals was spot on because they've had that type of season as well. And I think the only other team who's probably had a similar season or mirror season to the Bengals is probably the 49ers, just down on their luck, just can't get anything to go right. Much better than what they're performing at. I don't know if Dallas is much better than their record.
Nah, I think they overachieved last year, and I think this year they're just what they are. I mean that team's not that good, man. Just talent wise, if you take away CD and Micah, I just don't think that team is that good. I mean, Jerry is not the GM he thinks he is. So I like McCarthy. I think he deserves another chance. Because I mean, we talked about that team. They have no running back. The way that they ignored that. I mean, it's kind of like watching the Bengals front office operate. Just ignoring weaknesses. But
yeah, I don't like Dowdle. I don't like him averaging 7.2 a carry. That's concerning. That's very concerning. I know he's finding his footing in the league. But 7.2 is just ridiculous. Even Turpin, but Turpin's a different story. He a whole different beast. CeeDee Lamb, 6 receptions, 93 yards, 1 touchdown. His touchdown was
70 yards in the first quarter. I mean, he came out cooking.
Oh yeah, I know you were keeping a close eye on CD's stats yesterday. That touchdown that he caught, listen,
wide open,
2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row, and this is the downside of Hard Knocks, right? And I don't want to say NFL coaches aren't doing their job and doing their research. They study film, right? So I'm not saying Hard Knocks expose this, but they really made an emphasis of saying, hey, Mike Hilton in the slot, that's something we want. And if we can take advantage of that and get him in a one-on-one matchup, if we can recognize that, let's do it. And that happened again. It was so bad. It was so bad that I thought it was a miscommunication.
Yeah. But I mean,
I watched the replay, and it is what it is. Mike Hilton does so much good that I'm not even. This is not a Mike Hilton bash session. That's my guy. I'm a big fan. But I do like him more in that Kyle Hamilton type of role, that Jamal Adams type of bring him in the box, let him cause havoc.
All right, y'all. If you are watching on YouTube, you can see I have a different background, even though the Bengals helmet is still in the background. Lost some power here, so I switched over to the phone so we can finish this episode. My apologies. There was like a real-time 10 to 15-minute delay. I have no idea what we were talking about right before things cut. So Phil and myself were trying to figure out, but we were just kind of rolling. But I know we talked about the Cowboys just out Bengals the Bengals. Let's talk about that last sequence. I think we talked about CeeDee Lamb, his stats, and what he did. That's what we were talking about.
We were talking about CeeDee Lamb in the slot. Mike Hilton.
You were going to say something. Yep. You were going to say something about Mike Hilton or that play. I'm not sure.
So, you were talking about using Mike Hilton in that Kyle Hamilton role, and I agree with you there. But I'll be honest, I think it was George Pickens who was calling Amon St. Brown a slot merchant earlier in the season. But if we're being honest, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, those are the slot merchants, man. Those are the dudes that just feast in the slot, and CeeDee Lamb that's a tough matchup for anybody in the slot. I mean, you see CD across from Mike Hilton, I swear it looked like he had a foot on him. So, that's a tough task. I'm not gonna hold that against Mike too much. He tackled well, he rushed the passer well. So you just got to find a way to put Mike in better positions to affect the game positively, because I think he's still a solid player. But yeah, man, Hard Knocks is definitely gonna highlight your weaknesses, like you said, for sure. Ain't no doubt about that. So
that's how they do, man. So yeah, let that slide. Like I said, it's CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches, man. Being a DB, being a cornerback specifically, probably the hardest position in football outside of quarterback.
You would never hear me argue against that. I hated playing corner. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that touchdown, it is what it is. They're obviously the back and forth. Listen, I want to make sure I say this. When you get to week 14, everything's fair game, right? Yeah, like, I don't care how you win, you just win. Mm-hmm. That's the name of the game this time of the season. I know we're still mathematically in it.
Yeah,
but I know like overall,
1% chance or something like that.
Yeah, so you keep fighting, but you keep fighting for pride. Once again, bouncing back to Hard Knocks. There's a moment in the Browns defensive line room when one of the vets, I forget who it was just talking about, this is your film, man. This is, even though we don't have playoffs to play for, you still putting film. You putting stuff out there on tape, man. So people can see, are you part of the solution or part of the problem? Like, are you going to have a long career or not?
Yeah, and Joe said it last week. These next 5-6 weeks is going to tell us a lot about who's on our team, and what we got going forward. So, it's definitely good to see your leaders lead that way. So,
yeah, for sure. So a back and forth game. Obviously, start the game with the punt, 3 and out. Wasn't a fan of that. Then they come down to score. Dallas has been they've been playing extremely well in regards to their first drive and going down and getting points. Then we come back with a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 5 yards. Dallas has an interception to open the second quarter. We have turnover on downs. They have a field goal. We score another touchdown with Chase Brown. Great play down the sideline. Great block, I think, by Yoshi.
Yep, it was Yoshi. And they robbed my man of his celebration, man. He was in bounds the whole time. So
they was hating. They was big hating on my man Chase. And then obviously, as you go down, you also have another punt by Dallas, a field goal by us, punt by Dallas, and you at the end of the half. Not sure what Dallas is doing with the clock management at the end of that first half, but it is what it is. They come out in the third quarter, 11 plays, 65 yards. You have
strong opening drive.
Absolutely. Cooper Rush to Brandon Cooks. Then we have an interception. Then they have another field goal. We have a field goal. Trade some punts for a while. And then it's a 2020 game. And then one of the most bizarre things that I've seen, maybe.
It was pretty bizarre for sure.
Obviously, it was only fitting that it was in Dallas. If you watch the broadcast, so you cannot help but to bring up Leon Lett. Listen, I get the natural instinct and desire.
Absolutely.
To see a ball coming at you, really no imminent danger or threat, and want to catch it. I don't know what he was thinking. Yeah. And I'm sure, like I said, not in any of these meetings. I'm not sure if that's coaching or not, but that's something that you explicitly. I don't care how long you've been in the league. Every single time we meet for special teams, I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
In the event that a punt is blocked and it goes past the line of scrimmage, do not touch the ball. I don't care what's happening.
Yeah, I listened to Solomon Wilcox this morning, and he was talking about, back when he played and that happened, the guys would yell Peter, Peter, Peter to basically, alert, some type of call to alert that whoever it is, get away from the ball.
You teach that when kids are in elementary, youth football.
Yeah.
As soon as you're old enough to where you can start punting, you learn Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Get away from the ball. And that's usually on punt return. That's not even on block. I don't know what he was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he thought that since it was blocked that it's still their ball. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah.
But thankful to him, we were able to get the ball back when it looked like we were going to have another Bengals game.
Yeah.
Where it's late. We've done enough to win. And then all of a sudden, we have new life.
Yeah.
And we come down, and I love the route. I love the setup of it. I love the fact that Chase. I love the fact that. Go ahead.
How many times have we seen Jamar do that?
It's ridiculous. It's silly. It doesn't make sense.
It's crazy. But go ahead, talk me through it. I want to see it again.
I just love. Obviously, it's an out route. Nothing too crazy. And Jamar was just eating. He was just having his way. Mm-hmm. And you can tell they work on this. There was something where Joe led him on the inside to where, and I think he talked about the post game or maybe in his presser, where that's on purpose.
Yep.
So just in case Jamar has a chance to make a play and turn upfield, he can do it. Mm-hmm. I think I talked maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't remember how long ago. Whenever Phil made his declaration that Jamar Chase was the best receiver of all time, I did push back, but I did say I think Jamar Chase is one of the best athletes of all time. One thing that's always fascinated me about Jamar is his balance. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I said this before, and I know it's like an odd thing to just pay attention to, but his balance, like if you see him get hit, shoved out of bounds, like the man does not fall over, and his balance is incredible, and his 0 to 60 is ridiculous, and to just close out a game in that manner. And you've seen a lot of people say it. We were due for that. We were owed that. It feels like we have too much talent to lose games the way that we've been losing. So it was beautiful and great to just see us with a win on Monday Night Football in prime time in Dallas of all places, and have Micah Parsons cry.
I walked off the field before the game was even over. Man.
That was beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, that was beautiful. I loved it.
Most definitely, man. And real quick, before I forget while I'm thinking about it, I forgot to mention earlier, shout out to Joseph Osai, registering a sack for his third straight game. He's had a sack in each of the last 3 games. So I just wanted to mention that, using him in a lot of different ways. He had a really clean sack playing defensive tackle on one snap that was on that snap where he made that sack. So that was just a beautiful play. I just wanted to, salute him for that.
Things are looking up. So we're going to see. As far as the game goes, like I said, it really doesn't. I mean, it was back and forth. Mm-hmm. It's exactly what we've been watching all year. But like I said, once you get to week 14, you just want to stack wins.
Yeah, it was a good game. I expected more points, but overall, it was a really good game. It was an entertaining game. So
yeah, man. All you bettors out there, man. Damn, I feel bad for anybody who bet Dallas plus 5.5 because that was a lock.
Yeah.
And you were a once every 25, 30 years special teams blunder away from cashing that.
Yeah.
And you're also a generational talent, Phil's greatest of all time, getting the ball in his hands away from cashing that because that plus 5.5 should have hit. That should have been a 3-point victory for the Bengals.
I was really tempted to take Cowboys money line. I brought it up before the game. It was plus 200.
Phil sent out a text and said that's free money. And can we talk about you going on every Bengals social media page, every player's page to dog Joe's outfit?
I just needed the people to know how much I hate. As much as I love Joe, I hold my friends accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you hated that outfit.
Yo. What Kendrick say? What the is you wearing, bro? It's tacky.
Just tacky.
Like, bro, I don't care if it was Marnie. That fit was god awful. It was atrocious. Like it was bad. And Joe, hey, I know you like your stylist that you got, but please part ways with bro. Like that's as bad as switching from Gold Star to Skyline, bro. Like sometimes you just need to throw on some ones, and some team issue gear, bro. Throw on a fire hoodie and some dope jeans. Like that's all you gotta do, bro. That's how you QB1. Just come swag it out. You got the aura, you got the Riz, all the kids, and you got it, bro. Like you ain't gotta do that. You ain't gotta do that.
Yeah, man. In all seriousness, hope everything well. You probably seen the reports by now. Joe's
For
home was
sure.
burglarized while he was
Stop
going.
trusting them. Stop trusting them stupid girls, man. Get her out your house, bro.
The model that works for Joe.
Yeah, come on, man. Who buying that? Yeah.
Who works for Joe.
I mean, maybe she is a worker. I don't know. Link in bio, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to her. Either way, we just gonna leave it there. But hopefully everything's cool. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else about the game that I really want to discuss or cover. I do want to mention one thing in that first drive. I don't know why we were trying to punch a turfing.
Bro, you brought that up. Yeah. That was frustrating. That
was
right
extremely
there.
Frustrating.
That made me. That's right when I switched from the Simpsons. I'm like, nah, we got to get off of this. We got to get to
I don't know why anybody would, but just happy to have a victory. More than anything, just happy to have a victory. We are at Tennessee. It feels like the 10th year in a row that we played at the Titans.
Yeah, and it felt like it came like this game came quick. I remember it felt like this game was a ways away, and now it's here. So
yeah, and I don't. As I said earlier, I just had to switch to my phone because the power's out over here, so I can't really get on my laptop. I genuinely want to know the last time the Titans came to Cincinnati. I know we got some playoff wins and stuff like that, some playoff games against them, so it's not all regular season. But I legit feel like since I was like 25, we've gone to Nashville every single year. For them not to be a divisional opponent, I know they're in the conference, but for them not to be in the AFC North, I feel like we played them the most out of anybody else in the league.
For sure.
Like, I don't know what that's about. I would just love to know if you can find that real quick.
Yeah.
In the meantime, while you're looking that up, I see us rolling Tennessee next week.
Oh, absolutely.
Tennessee's giving up. Man. Tennessee's giving up on the season. Like they're checked out. Vacation plans are set. They're just waiting for the official week 18 end dates. The Titans are not showing up. Go ahead.
Let's see. No. I thought that was here. They were here 2020, it looks like. This would have been week 8. Yeah, November 1st, 2020. And we beat them 31-20. That made them 5-2. That made us 2-5. So
interesting. Yeah, I don't remember that game. That was COVID year. I don't remember a lot about COVID. Crazy time in life. Any predictions about that Titans game? I really just think we roll them. I think it's that simple.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm gonna go ahead and say, I don't know, we haven't really done predictions too much, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Bengals win decisively 31-19. That's what I'm gonna go with.
It's an interesting number. I don't know what the number is. I think we smoke them though. Good old matchup between our former offensive coordinator, good old Brian Callahan. Hard Knocks. I had another recording before we started this. I was unable to finish Hard Knocks. However, I did start it. I said it earlier. I can watch, and I texted Phil this. I can watch Tomlin coach all day. I can watch him coach all day. Just much CTV. Stefanski, big fan of him. Not too much Harbaugh. They were on bye week, so I didn't see a ton of Ravens. Like I said, I missed the last 23 minutes, so I don't know what else was really there. From the Bengals perspective, was there anything that you saw as far as like prep for the Monday night game, or was there anything that stood out to you overall in the episode? I'm going to rely on you for this.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the structure of the episode, like where in week 1 where they kind of showed everybody in the same
Yeah.
kind of just staggered it. Where this one it was kind of like, okay, they showed Cleveland, then they showed Pittsburgh, then they showed us. Like they ended with us, obviously, with us having the Monday night game. So I really like the way that it was structured, the kind of way it was broken up there. But it was kind of more the same on our end. They showed Zach giving his pregame speech. Well, not pregame, but like just leading up into the week. Again, no one being moved. You just see blank faces. Like, when they pan to the players, nobody's engaged.
Think
It's
about
just,
prices
man.
right.
It's just so you can just see the stark differences between a Tomlin, a Stefanski, and a Zach Taylor. It's just so mild mannered, and I'm just glad we were.
Listen,
I'm just glad we were able to get a win, man.
that's the one thing I will say, man. I know we give Zach a hard time, man, but I respect him for being who he is and not trying to go too far out of his box. I mean, maybe he can't fake it, and I respect that. Just try to get the results. But man, it's just funny, man. You gotta laugh at life because life is gonna laugh at you.
And they did also, they highlighted Jamar a lot in the relationship that he built with the kid Bricks, who's dealing with cancer. So that they highlighted that story quite a bit on the episode as well. So that was really cool to kind of see that incorporated as well, and just see a different side of Jamar. So that was cool.
Absolutely. I can't wait to finish up the episode. I kind of gave my highlights as far as Tomlin watch was what we'll probably call it the rest of this season because man, literally, like I can watch him coach and just the way he puts a game plan together, the way he prepares and has his team prepared and holds people accountable. That's a head coach. That's somebody who runs a program, CEO of a program. So absolutely, I love watching that. And I want to see more Bengals wins as these next 4 weeks go. It's going to be very fun to see 2 more divisional games in these next 4 weeks. We have the Browns at home, and we're going to have to close the season with the Steelers. And obviously the Titans, as we mentioned this week. And then we also will have the Broncos at home for our home finale the week before the Steelers game.
There's nothing more that I want than that game on 12/29, the day after my birthday, that actually means something. If that game matters, oh man, I know it's like a 1% chance, but if that game matters, boy,
after the Ravens game, I think the first one, man, I told you, man, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting.
Oh no, zero expectations. I mean, I'm gonna be there regardless, but if it means something, oh man, man.
Yeah, man. All right, Phil. Anything else that you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
Man, shout out to the GOAT, Jamar. You the man. Holla at your boy.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to all the Who Dey Nation out there. Shout out to everybody listening to Gridiron Jungle. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you stay subscribed. We had another subscriber. I said it earlier, and once again, I don't have it in front of me. I'm going to make sure you get a shout out next week. But thank you for subscribing to the YouTube page. Thanks for everybody following, listening, enjoying the content. I believe Amber, what's her name, who said we need a larger platform. I'm with you, Amber. I appreciate you.
Like, share, and subscribe.
I was just about to say the best way is to like, share, subscribe. If you know a Bengals fan or just a football fan who likes football talk, share this with them. Thank you to everybody out there supporting. With that being said, we will see you next week to discuss hopefully another Bengals win.
And real quick, real quick, if any of y'all are listening, man, shout out to my boys that's Cowboy fans. My boy Chris, my boy Will. Shout out Spike Lou. Shout out D Hall, man. Y'all team is garbage, man. Shout out to y'all, man.
Hope y'all having a great day. Hope you're having a fantastic day.
Absolutely. Man, America's team.
All right, y'all. I'm out. I ain't gonna say that. We out though, man. Shout out to the Bengals, man. Shout out for getting that dub. Make sure you go enjoy your Penn Station. It's probably too late, but make sure you enjoy that Penn Station after a victory. You'll have another one next week after we stomp the Titans. Until next week, signing off your 2 favorite Bengals fan. That's Philly Phil. My name is Kieron, better known as Rich. We out. Who Dey?
Who Dey?